and welcome to NDTV Auto. Today I am with Skoda India's new management. Yes, Skoda India has a new boss at the top and we all know him too well because that's Ashish Gupta, who was earlier, yes, we all know, with Volkswagen.
Yeah.
So now he helms Skoda Auto India as a brand director. Ashish, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
My first question, Volkswagen and Skoda are part of the same group, but they also have different identities, not just in India, but across the globe as well. What are your key learnings from this shift till now?
No, I'm still
there's still very
I'm
little time.
still in the learning phase, Mugdha.
Yeah.
You know, of course, I've been part of the group for more than 12 years now. Been watching the other brands from the outside, but watching from outside and inside is quite different. Yeah, so that's what I'm learning right now. It's too early for me to say, but I think the basics of business remain similar across the group and across the brand, which is focus on the customer and making sure that your products are right there at the heart of the market.
What do you think when you were an outsider? What were the key challenges for Skoda, and has that view changed a little bit once you are on the inside?
No, to be honest, I had never looked at it so deeply. I was so engrossed in doing what I had to do. You know, but at the end of the day, Gita ka saar hai, karam kar, right? So that is what I believe in, and never looked at it from that point of view. Of course, you watch your competition closely, and to some extent, we are competing brands, although we are of the same group. But definitely never looked at what could be the reasons, what could be done better. Once you get into it, you start thinking deeply.
Now, what do you think right now is your top priority? What is the key challenge that Skoda Auto India has to manage?
I think the biggest challenge is scale. Yeah, so we are now getting into a hyper competitive sub 4 meter SUV with the market with the Kylaq, and that's a challenge of scale. You have to scale up your network, you have to scale up your teams, you have to scale up the manpower in your dealerships, you have to scale up your communication. Yeah, so that's I think the biggest challenge. And how do you cope with that scale, or that ramp up in scale, is something which is a priority for me.
So now Kylaq is your big product, which is supposed to give you a lot of ground in India. First of all, from the launch till now, are you happy with the response that Kylaq has got?
Absolutely, Mugdha. And I think the Kylaq has created a lot of buzz in the market. As I said before, the sub 4 meter segment is a hyper competitive market. Yeah, I think there are 8 or 12 players with multiple products in this segment. So getting into this segment is not an easy task to do. And that is why the success that the Kylaq has had in the short period it's been in the market for 3 months is actually quite commendable. Yeah, so reaching the numbers that we have, I think is a good start. Now we have to build on that start. As with any new product launch, typically you always have issues with mix in the first initial phases, whether it is variant availability, color availability. So those are the kind of challenges we have handled in the first 2 or 3 months. We have made the changes that were required to be closer to the market demand, and I think the volumes should ramp up tremendously now.
This was supposed to be your product which gives you a larger market.
Yeah.
Has that happened, or do you think right now what has happened is that people who are within the Skoda brand, maybe they wanted to buy the Kylaq and they have shifted to Kylaq, or has there actually been a market expansion?
No, there has been. Definitely there has been. Primarily from the fact that you're now addressing newer price points. Yeah. Traditional Skoda customers have always been more towards the premium side. If I would put demographics around it, maybe 42 to 43 years old, with a family, with having reached a stage in life, where they could afford something premium in their life. Those have been our traditional customers. With the Kylaq, now you are actually getting into newer markets. And when I say newer markets, new tier 2, tier 3 towns, where the aspirations of the people and the demographics are quite different. Yeah. So if I talk about what specifically is different, I think in terms of age groups, with the Kylaq, we do see a much younger audience coming in, maybe not 42, 43 that we used to have earlier, now in the range of 30 to 35. Newly married, Yeah, so a lot of couples who are just newly married looking forward to buying their first car, buying a European safe car, which still gives them a little bit of more status in life. That is something which I see very clearly when I go to my showrooms, walking into our showrooms. Very young professionals, people 27, 28, who are also looking to make their first purchase and see Skoda as the Kylaq as their first product, which meets their aspirations. So I think yes, there's a very big demographic change happening with the entry into Kylaq segment.
The reason I asked this question is because we have seen that Kylaq, yes, the numbers have started trickling in, but Kylaq has taken a backseat.
Yeah.
Do you think Kylaq is somehow cannibalizing Kylaq's sale, or
No, I don't
Kylaq
think-
is because of the natural progression
No, I
of the
don't
product?
think so. I think that is of course that can always be a danger. When you introduce a new product, and typically our design language is also a family-oriented, SUV family-oriented design language. That can happen. But when I went into the markets and when I started talking to customers and our dealers, I think it's more to do with focus. Yeah, when you are entering such a huge segment and you are addressing a new set of customers, you tend to lose focus on what exists already. Yeah, the teams are very young. The teams are very new in our network. We've expanded by almost 60 outlets in the last 6 months. So a very fresh set of people in our network. They need to now understand what customer to approach or what customer to address for each of the products. So it's a learning phase. You will see the Slavia and the Kylaq both bouncing back soon.
Okay. Now, the other problem that I think Skoda and Volkswagen both have is the fact that people think that ownership experience is on the expensive side. What are you trying to do to make sure that that perception, and also somewhere it's not just perception. If you compare with competition in lots of aspects, the cost is a bit high. So how are you going to manage that? Because that becomes a big problem in India. It's buying the car is one step, and people are open to experimenting when buying the car, but they're not ready to experiment when the cost of ownership itself is high.
I think, factually, if I talk about it, and we can talk about perceptions later, but let me talk about the facts first. If you look at the facts, today a Kylaq and a Kylaq annual maintenance costs in the range of 7,000 to 7,500, yeah, which is even cheaper than smaller cars than us. Yeah, that's the fact. Yeah. Secondly, if you look at it, parts availability, which was again a big bane for us 5 or 6 years ago. With the kind of localization we have done, with the kind of supply chains that we have available locally, we have almost 96% parts availability at any point of time. We have internal metrics, which we call it service rates. Our service rates for parts orders are more than 96%, which are among the best in the industry, any benchmark you take in the industry. Thirdly, if you look at it from cost of ownership, again, one of the big issues for us was that our repairs were not easy to do, in the sense that if something failed, you have to change whole assemblies. Yeah. That is also something we have changed dramatically with localization. We have smaller child parts now available for servicing. If you look at it, another important aspect which held us back or which made our services expensive was the price of the engine oil. Yeah, the engine oil prices have been brought down by almost 50% over the last 3 years. Yeah, so all these facts have combined to give us a service cost of not more than 7,500 annually. Yeah, okay. On top of it, to reinforce customers' confidence in our service costs, this year we have made first year service free, including parts. Yeah, we call it the Skoda Super Care package. So first year the service is taken care of by us. Yeah, so that is another step in enabling trust and enabling confidence in our services. The important thing, or the second thing that we need to tackle, is the perception part. Yeah, these factual changes exist. These factual changes have been implemented. These factual changes have been acknowledged by customers. But the perception, as you said, still exists, and that is what, through our communication efforts, through the network, through our communication channels, is what we will be accelerating to get this message across to customers, as I am doing today. Yeah, the important part of the service thing that I still need to work on, and we will continue to work on, is making sure that our customer experience at the dealerships is much better. Yeah, that is something which, along with the network ramp up, becomes a dual challenge right now, but we have to tackle it. No questions about it.
Yeah. And now let's talk about future strategy.
Yeah.
Has the product launch strategy changed in the last few months? Because when we met the management at Auto Expo, we had clarity on Kodiaq diesels coming. Kodiaq is already here. Then Superb. Then there were talks about Octavia VRS as well. So has the product strategy changed a little bit? Is Kodiaq diesel coming?
I think, product strategy overall has not changed. The timing of that strategy can change. And that is something which I believe is the right thing to do at this point of time. We have launched 2 brand new cars in the last 2 months, the Kylaq and the Kodiaq. We owe it to ourselves and to the market and to our dealers to make these products successful first. Resources are limited, bandwidths are limited, your network is ramping up. So I would rather focus on something which is possible to make a success, and we have to make it a success first before we start spreading ourselves too thin. But having said that, the global models that you spoke about do have a place in our plan, but at the right time. Yeah. Out of the products that you spoke about, definitely one of the products I'll bring this year.
Which is a sedan. Now I want to know which one is it, because is it Superb or Octavia VRS?
Time will tell, but a product which will excite the market.
Excite the market, is it VRS?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what is your strategy for powertrains in India? What are you thinking about EVs? You told us yesterday that one of your EVs is the highest selling in Europe, when Europe actually is seeing a decline
Correct.
in EV sales.
Yeah.
What is your assessment of EVs in India, and by what time?
I think, if you look at it 4 or 5 years ago, Mugdha, my first interview, by the way, was with you, and when I was launching the India 2.0 products at that time with the other brand, and your first question was, why are you launching ICE at this time when the market is moving towards EV? I think we were all bullish towards EV at that point of time, and at that point of time also I had said that mass adoption of EVs is at least 6 or 7 years away. Yeah. At that time also I had said that the inflection point in EVs will come somewhere around end of 26, maybe second half of 27, purely because of 3 reasons. One is manufacturing capability, second is supply chains, and third is government regulation. Yeah. So that stands true. The projections also said 5 years ago that by 2025 Indian EV market would be around 5.5%. We are already at 4.5% last month, and I am sure by the time we end this year, we will be at around 5% of the market being EV. What has changed, however, is that 5 years ago, everybody said India will be 30% EV by 2030. That I don't think holds true anymore, like any other part of the world. Yeah. At best, maybe 15, 18%, 20% is now what the assessment says. Yeah, so having said that, inflection point still is that 26, 27 time frame. And we are a relevant player in the market, and if we have to stay relevant, we definitely have to get an EV. And if you have to get scale into EV, you have to get a local product. So that strategy remains.
So, Minister Kumaraswamy had said categorically that Volkswagen is interested in their EV policy. So, would you want to invest and locally produce EVs?
That's what I just said.
Yeah. So that's confirmed that you are doing
No,
that.
I think, again, as I said, this is not only a brand topic. This is also a group topic. So it cannot be only the Skoda brand which takes a decision on that. It has to consider a lot of other factors, including other brands in the group, including what kind of investment strategy we are following as a group in India. So it will not be my place to comment on that beyond what I have said so far.
Okay. Now, with EVs not getting the kind of adoption that the world was expecting, the other conversation has shifted a little bit towards in favor of hybrids. What is your plan on hybrids? Do you think hybrid makes sense for India, considering they don't get any support from the government as we speak, except for few states?
Yeah, that is a big if. Hybrids is an interesting technology. But hybrids also has different forms. You could have the full hybrids, you could have the range extenders, you can have the plug-in hybrids. So I think at this point of time, you also have to take a bet or assess very carefully what hybrid strategy will work for the future in India. Yeah, because sometimes we are clouded by what is happening right now. Yeah, what you have to very clearly see from the trends, and also I would say analyze and predict is what will happen 5 and 10 years, because any decision you take today cannot be just for today. It has to be for at least a decade and a half, because that is the investment you need to make. So that is the phase we are in. But having said that, I think very clearly you do need to have alternate powertrains in your portfolio, and that's what we will also continue to work on.
Are you considering hybrids for India?
We are considering hybrids, we are considering diesels, we are considering MPI, we are considering CNG, everything.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? You know, as I said, if you have to be a relevant player, you have to assess everything and then take your bet.
You mentioned CNG. Is that something we can expect in, say, Kylaq, Kylaq?
Now you're trying to put words into my mouth. I said,
asking.
I know, I'm saying everything we are assessing. Yeah, at the right time, what makes sense for our portfolio and fits into our future strategy, we will adopt.
But because CNG has definitely caught the fancy of Indian customers, it gives them a lot of benefits. So that's the reason I was asking, but is that something that you are...
Again, as I said, we do evaluate every kind of a strategy, every kind of an option.
Okay. Now, Kylaq and Slavia are due for an update. Is that happening?
We're working on it.
It was supposed to happen in 2025. Is that happening?
Who told you that?
I think 2026. 2026 is when we were. You also mentioned it at Volkswagen that you are going
you're
to.
Just trying. Yes, we are working on it very clearly. It has to be. You know, it's been 4 years since we launched the Kylaq. There have been, minor facelifts, I would say, with special editions, with new variants coming in, new price points coming in. We have brought in new features already into the Kylaq that is in the market. But the big facelift that you are expecting, yes, we are working on it, and at the right time, we will launch it soon.
Okay, but is that few months down the line or more than that?
Few months means what? Few months for me. Few months for me ranges from 12 months to 18 months.
Okay, fine. All right, that gives me the answer.
Yeah.
Now, from here on, what is your expectation on growth? And with so many things happening geopolitically, there is FTA that has to be decided. What is the direction that Skoda Auto India is taking?
In terms of?
In terms of growth, in terms of investments?
No, I think, we have just proven our intentions with the launch of the Kylaq by entering, the most competitive segment and the biggest segment in the Indian automotive industry. And the intentions are very clear that we want to grow, and we have grown. Last year, we ended the year with around 0.8% market share, sub 1%. This year already, we are at around 2% market share. If our plans go well and our Kylaq continues to perform the way it is, we will exit the year at around 2.5 to 3% market share. Yeah, so that's a tremendous jump. Yeah, it's a 2 to 2.5 fold jump that we are targeting in our volumes. Along with that, if you look at it, last year we exited the year at 11th rank in the market. Today we are number 7 already. Yeah, year till date, and that is something which we want to hold on to. So definitely, it's a growth strategy.
Does that worry you that 25 years in the market and you are at 2% market share?
No, I think you have to see it in the context of what our DNA of our group is, what the DNA of the brand is, and what the ambitions have been. Yeah? So it's very easy to say that, we should be worried. I think I'm proud of the 25 years of legacy, and we are at this 2.5% also because of that legacy of 25 years. There are many players who have exited the market, even after having that kind of a legacy. We have not. We have continued to believe in India. We have continued to invest in India, and we will continue to invest in India.
India is a difficult market. Here it's mostly, till now it has been winners takes it all. Only now, last few months.
I think, Mugdha, the market is big enough. We are a 4.3 million market. We are the fourth or the third, soon to be third largest market in the world. And also, there is space for everybody. Sometimes we as analysts and we as, so-called whatever you call it, experts.
Watcher of the
experts. We classify everybody by market shares and segment shares, but just look at the absolute volume. Yeah, a 3% market share for Skoda would mean more than 120,000 cars a year. Yeah, in any other market of the world, you would be number 1. Yeah, so you have to also see it in the sense of the scale of the market. So I would rather see it as tremendous opportunity, big market, space for everybody to grow.
All right, Mr. Gupta. Thank
Yeah.
you so much
Thank
for
you.
taking time out and speaking to us.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank you
lot.
so much.